Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to be talking about the whole Pwned Labs bootcamp experience. I've done all three of the bootcamps, which is for Google Cloud, AWS, as well as Microsoft. I've also given the exam for each one of these and I passed them. So yeah, here's the MCRTP for Microsoft, here's the GCRTP for Google Cloud, and the ACRTP for Amazon Cloud or AWS. So we're first going to start off with the structure of the bootcamp. The structure of the bootcamp for each one of these is pretty much the same, and at the end we're going to talk about some just tips and tricks for the exam pretty much. So each one of these boot camps is it's 4 weeks long. They're going to provide each student with a learning path. And this learning path is going to be gearing you up or building your skills slowly each week. And in this learning path, they're going to provide you with sometimes a blog post to read, or usually the case would be to complete a certain amount of labs. And the labs that they want you to complete is the ones provided by Pwned Labs. So these ones over here. And they're going to give you like around 3 to 5 labs per week to complete. So I would say the best way to explain the structure is that when you sign up, they're first going to give you this thing called week one learning path. Week one learning path will have 3 to 5 labs for you to do. When you complete these labs, and if you guys are going to have any difficulties, if you guys think you're going to have difficulties with the labs, don't worry. The labs aren't like hack the box where you're going to have to take a CTF approach. You could take that. All you have to write over here is CTF, right? And then it will just give you CTF suitable labs. But regardless, each one of these labs, they're going to take you step by step and explain what is going on. So there's pretty much teaching you, and you're not just going to be straight up going into it and blindly and have to figure things out yourself. They're going to pretty much teach you the method of actually solving this and what is going on. And that's kind of the thing that I've done. I never took a CTF approach to any of these labs. I just went through it one by one, reading and understanding and taking notes the whole time. I would sometimes do external research and use ChatGPT, but besides that, you don't have to take a CTF approach to it. So in regards to that, it also means that if you have zero experience in the cloud, this is also a good place for you to start learning, because they're teaching you step by step. But yeah, back to the thing that I was talking about. For each, when you sign up, they're going to give you week one learning path, which is going to be 3 to 5 labs for you to complete. When you complete those labs on Saturday, for me, 1 to 5 p.m., it was a 4 hours class or a 4 hour live session. They're going to cover those labs, cover the topics in those labs. They're not going to cover the labs. They're going to cover the topics in those labs and expand upon that. Pwned Labs recommend that you complete the learning path for each week before the actual live session. And the reason for that is it's going to make you understand the session topic much more better. And you can ask questions that you want during the session, which are more fruitful. You're not going to ask some basic questions. Um, and after that session, or in that session, they're also going to be doing extra hands-on labs as well, which is going to be, yeah, they're going to do extra fully hands-on labs in the exact session as well, not the ones related to the learning path, different complete labs. And yeah, the whole class will be doing that together. It's all hands-on, and it's also going to be step by step where they could walk you through it. So you're going to have the lab answers as well if you ever get stuck in it. The labs usually take 15 to 45 minutes, and it's really basic. And besides that, yeah, that's pretty much it. They would have about 2 to 3 live session labs. I guess that's what you would call it, live session labs. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And they would be explaining you topics and giving you the foundational knowledge that you need to actually understand it, get the theory down and all of that. So they're building your hands-on ability as well as the theory. They're giving you the theory as well. And then once you're done that, the live session, they would then release week two's learning path for you to complete, which is like 3 to 5 other labs in here. Now you may notice that some of them have the label premium on them. So don't worry about that. When you do buy the bootcamp, they do give you access to some of the premium labs, right? I mean, all of the premium labs pretty much. And these premium labs are going to be part of the learning path. So yeah, that is there as well. A quick note for you guys, if you guys don't want to take this approach, obviously Pwned Labs recommends that you do the learning path before the live session. I did it differently. I did the live session first, and then I did the first week learning path. So week one session, and then week one learning path. Week two session, week two learning path. That's how I did it, and that's how a lot of people have done it. Pwn Labs does recommend you don't do it that way, just because the session will be more fruitful if you prepare for it before it, and you can ask more better questions then. But this is the approach that I took. It's been working for me. That's the approach that I took for all three of the certifications, all three of the boot camps. And it just worked out for me because I'm brand new to the cloud. Starting off with the labs without any foundational or theory knowledge was pretty difficult. I don't even know the CLI commands. I didn't even know that AWS has a CLI. Like I was at that step, Um, I was at that stage. So for that reason, I had to do the session first, and then I went with the actual labs over here. Um, and it worked out perfectly, and a lot of students do that. So that's just another thing for you guys if you want to take this approach. Um, Besides this, other things to notice is that when you do sign up for the bootcamp, um, and you join the Discord server, you get access to 4 channels. These 4 channels are specific to that bootcamp. Um, and yeah, you have lifetime access to those channels. One of those channels is going to be the resource channel. So every session that you or live session that you go to, they're going to be recorded. So all the questions that are asked in the session are also going to be recorded. That is all going to be posted in that specific channel that you have access to once you buy this bootcamp. So you can always go back if you missed the live session, you can always go back and rewatch the recording. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Also, the instructors are very nice, extremely knowledgeable. Like honestly, I was impressed by each one of them. Um, they taught amazing, and it was actually pretty chill, honestly. Um, One of the things to note is that a lot of people, what their concern is with these live session is, will my questions get answered, right? And your questions are going to get answered. It really depends on, you can ask in 2 ways. If you're shy, and you can't speak up in the live session, you can always text in the Discord channel, right? Because you get access to 4 Discord channels for that bootcamp. One of them is a channel for live session questions, right? And you would ask your questions over there, and when the instructor, he takes a breaks in the middle to check that Discord channel to see if there's any questions, and he would go ahead and answer it. Some mods are also available during the live session, and when you ask that question, they'll just directly respond to it via the Discord channel, right? So they're usually pretty quick to respond, fix any issues that you have, and get back to you. And because this is lifetime access, when you have a question in the future that happens, even after the whole bootcamp finished, the 4 week ended, and you have a question, you can always go back, rewatch the live session, ask any questions, and they still get back to you, you know? So that's good over there. That's good on their end, which I really appreciate. Um, let's see, what else is there to talk about when it comes to this? One second, I made some notes over here because obviously I can't, remember everything to say in these videos. Uh, oh, okay, yeah, this is a good point to cover. So, majority of the bootcamp is geared towards the red team, like more, yeah. The majority of the bootcamp is geared toward the red team, but they also have blue team um, knowledge in there as well. They take a purple a team approach to this. Every time they explain a red team type of topic, that hey, this type of endpoint is, for example, vulnerable. Um, they would follow it up with a blue team approach where hey, this is what you can do to resolve it, and they'll teach you the pros and cons of using, for example, user agents and stuff like this, right? Filtering by user agents and all these type of things that you can take. These specific tools, hey, they work this way, this is what the blue team can do, so they go through it in a purple team approach, but majority of it is red team. And then at the end of the session, usually the last session, which is session 4 of the 4 week bootcamp, so the last session, it's a full blue team type of knowledge base over there, which is pretty nice. If there's things that I wish that for Pwn Labs to improve on, one of them is to add more blue team labs. I think that's all what a lot of people do want. They want more blue team labs over here. There are some, and you do get to do them, but you just wish that there was more. There is like if you the majority of people at Pwn Labs, right? Their majority are like on the red team side, they're penetration testers, and less on the blue team side. So yeah, I do understand like how Pwn Labs is more geared towards making more red team labs because that's what the audience base is. But they do have quite some good, helpful blue team labs in there, and they're actually pushing out more at the same time. What's nice about these labs as well is that when you go through them, at the end, they also teach you a defense approach of each of these labs, which is very, 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 very nice. Me, I'm kind of lazy, so I don't go through each of these defense parts, but I have went through a few of them, and it is pretty has pretty good knowledge. And let's see, is there anything else to do? Weekly labs given, questions, great place to. Oh, this is actually a really good thing to note for any of you guys are joining and you guys are pretty much new. When you're new to this field, one of the best things that you can do is make connections, right? Always focus on making connections. Pwn Labs really gives you that opportunity. I'm telling you, there's a lot of really smart people in there, you know, with 5 to 10 years of experience or even more. They join these boot camps. Sometimes they don't talk and they're quiet. Try to DM them, on Discord and stuff, and try to connect with them. It's gonna be really helpful. Be like, hey, yo, I have a question about this, and try to like, push that into making a good connection, networking, connecting on LinkedIn, being friends, all that. It's gonna really help you in the long term. So it's a great place to make connections with all these, cybersecurity experts. And let's see, is there anything else? Questions? Mm. Sessions are recorded, and it's great for beginners. Oh yeah, this is another thing that I really want to point out. Since the boot camps are done once a month, so 4 weeks, right? So we would have one which is Microsoft, then we would move on to Google Cloud, or sorry, after Microsoft, it's AWS, and then Google Cloud, and then it goes back to Microsoft again. So this is their way of actually, this is how they do their boot camps. The thing that I like about it is it's always up to date. It gives the instructor a couple of months to update any contents or any material for, to make sure it's always up to date and they always have up to date knowledge, which I really like. So it's not ever going to be outdated anytime soon. And they're always updating the labs as well. If there's any errors or anything that they want to improve on, they usually take it really well and they usually update their labs. So I've encountered a situation where I was like, hey, I know that this lab is going through it this way, but I want to expand more on my knowledge on this. Could you explain why this is working this way? I'm trying to enumerate the reason why. I'm going further beyond in these labs, right? So when doing this, um, Ian, right, he was like, hey, let me make those adjustments to the labs and stuff. They went, and this will happen in one day, you know? Um, so it's really good on their part for actually being very um, quick to do these type of things. Another thing is actually we can move on from this and we'll talk about what are the things that we would like at Pwn Labs. Me personally, my experience was pretty good and it was very hard for me to come up with ideas on ways to improve, right? Besides the thing that, hey, it needs more um, blue team type of labs. So what I went and did is I went ahead and asked a couple of other people, hey, what's your opinion on it, right? What do you think would be better at Pwn Labs and or what should improve? And I have a list over here of what they said. And one of them is a really good point. Actually, two of them are. So one of them is about, um, okay, for each of these labs, they want a video for them, a video walkthrough. Some of these people who are watching aren't really good with reading, right? And they prefer like a video tutorial to guide them through it. And there's not really much of that available. If I go through AWS, I think there might, for some of them, there is, right? So if I go to here, let's go to start can go to the very end. Yep. So this one does have it, community walkthrough. Majority of it, or if not all, is by Tyler, right? But he doesn't really cover each one of them. So there are a lot of them where they don't have a video tutorial, but in that regard, now there's my videos posted. So there is that over there. Obviously, I need to improve on my videos. If any of you guys have any ideas on how I can improve, right, just let me know. My videos that I posted are from each one of the learning paths. So each one of the learning paths that you do as you're growing, right, there's a video for it on my channel. So be sure to check that out. And also, the best thing that you can do is just let me know on ways to improve, because I just do this for fun, honestly. But so do let me know on ways that I can improve. I don't want to be like a weirdo on YouTube, you know, which makes bad video content or bad video quality. Whatever the case is, do let me know. One of the other things that my friends did say is that, which I really liked and I really want Pwned Labs to do, is to use on-premise integration into their labs and training. That's a really good idea, and it would really it's a great learning opportunity. Then, um, obviously, Pwned Labs is amazing, and there's not much people who are or companies that are teaching cloud besides Pwned Labs and one more. I forgot the name of it. It starts with like Cyber something. Um, I think it starts with Cyber. Don't take my word for it, but I've never really looked into that company that well. But I've heard good things about both, and this video is just for Pwned Labs. But yeah, the use of on-prem integration into their labs and training is an amazing idea, and honestly, it would just take this whole thing to the next level. Majority of the pen tests that people receive, from at least from the people that I've talked to, they've been receiving more of an Azure pen test type of Azure pen test, pretty much. And when they're doing their pen test, they're usually going to their on-premise environment. So from the cloud to their on-premise environment. So having that on-premise integration into their labs is a pretty good idea that they should probably start implementing. And yeah, that is pretty much it. My other friends, they're like, hey, yo, I just think it's perfect the way it is, the same opinion that I have. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the things that Pwned Labs can improve on. They're always keeping their bootcamp up to date, which is honestly a good idea, which is one of the reasons why I might even do it a second time, honestly. But yeah, it would probably be a waste of waste of money, but I was like thinking of doing it another time. But besides that, let's get to the exam and study advice that I can give you guys. So when doing the boot camp, the exam is going to be pretty much everything within the content of the boot camp itself. So meaning the learning path, all the labs in the learning path, the labs in the live session, and the things taught and said in the live session. So all these things can be on the exam. Um, and the first thing that I can give you guys as an advice is to take notes of every single thing that happens in there, right? Um, I'll tell you my way of studying first, and you guys can expand on it depending on how you want to do it. So I would attend session 1 first. After doing session 1 on Saturday, 1 to 5 p.m., that was on my time zone, 1 to 5 p.m., session 1 on Saturday. On Sunday, I would rewatch session 1 again to make sure it's in my long-term memory. After that, on Monday to Friday, I did the labs, right? I did the labs and I took notes of it. And then on week 2, session 2, right, on Saturday, attend the live session. On Sunday, I would rewatch the live session to make sure it's in my long-term memory. And then from there on, I would do session 2's learning path. And that's pretty much how I've done it consistently for the past 3 months. And that's what made me get these 3 certifications. So yeah, that's the way that I've done it. Obviously, you can gear it towards your own how you study, what's better for you, and all that. So yeah, make sure you complete all the labs and the session labs. Don't try to take the exam without doing all the labs and the session labs, because they're all going to be very helpful towards that. Don't take the exam without doing all these labs. And make sure you stay within the contents of everything taught in the bootcamp. A good example is, say you find an interesting permission with the word admin in it. All right, I'm just giving a straight up example. So say you find a permission with the word admin in it, and it looks interesting, it catches your eye, and you're thinking, wow, I can use this to move laterally or to privilege escalate, right? If it's not taught in the lab, it's not best to go into it too deep. It's good to probably do some research on it to confirm, right? I would say to do some research. But besides that, there's honestly uh you shouldn't go too deep into things outside of the boot camp. And yeah, and lastly, which I would really think is quite important, is having a good amount of networking and web knowledge. Um, you know, in the cloud environment, you're always using, you could use a website over there. Websites are used everywhere. So having a good amount of networking and web hacking knowledge is going to be really fruitful when doing the exam. They do go through it a bit in the bootcamp as well, but having that knowledge to a good extent is going to be very helpful in it. Obviously, you don't need to be an expert at it, right? But a good amount of, for example, command injection, right? Know a couple of the ways that you could do command injection, the couple of the things. The semicolon, and there's a couple of other keys that you can use, right? Um, or characters that you can use for it. But knowing a couple of these is going to be helpful. Just having a good idea of web and networking knowledge, and yeah, pretty much. And another thing that I could let you guys know is how long do these exams take? The exam is 24 hours. It's um, it's unproctored, and all you have to do is get the flag right in these exams for each one of these. And normally, if you study really well and you have a really good understanding of it, it could take you 4 to 5 hours, right? Everyone's different, but I think giving a good time amount is good just for your benefit, take it as you will. It could take 4 to 5 hours if you're really good at it and you've got a solid understanding of it. And if you're having a bit of difficulties with it, it could take 10 hours. But if you haven't studied well and you're having a really hard time and you're going through a rabbit hole, it could take over 15 hours, 10 to 15 hours or even more than that. For my first exam, which was the MCRTP, I did that with using all full 24 hours. I was brand new to the cloud, so I took all full 24 hours. Then when it came to the AWS exam, I did that within 4 to 5 hours. Then when it came to the GCRTP exam, the Google Cloud exam, it took me about 8 hours. It could have been 4 to 5 hours, but I was stuck on a rabbit hole and I didn't update my script correctly, right? I didn't put the exact thing I should have in my script. Even though I ran it, I forgot. Yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna get too into it deep, but like I didn't run my commands properly, pretty much. So I went down a rabbit hole, but it could have been done in 4 to 5 hours, honestly. Um, but yeah, that is pretty much it. Hopefully, you guys find it helpful, this video helpful. And yeah, take care, and I'll see you for the next video.